What's going on, you guys? My name is Hartley and welcome back to another weekly watch list video. In this series, I'm going to share with you the trades that I made this week and the investments that I put my money into. I'm also going to talk about how the market is doing as a whole, and I'm going to share with you the stocks that are at the top of my watch list going into the week ahead. So if you get any value out of this video, remember to click that like and subscribe button. Let's jump right in. Okay, so one of the trades that I made this week was for Good Food, ticker symbol FOOD. We got in on this breakout right here of previous resistance. We got in right here and we sold out at the next level of resistance of $10.37. We made about 10 to 15% on this one. We did extremely well on it in just a couple of days, and I also posted this trade to my Discord chat. So if you want to check that out, my entries and exits, definitely sign up. The link is down below. Now, two other long-term positions that I took this week were in Alibaba as well as Tencent. So these companies have sold off by about 30 to 35% over the last 6 months, mostly caused by the Chinese government and the pressure that they're putting on these companies. However, in my opinion, I still think that these Chinese companies are extremely good companies with fantastic business models, and now that they're selling at a 30 to 40% discount, I am buying into them because I think over the long term, both Alibaba and Tencent are going to do extremely well. Now, one of the main reasons that I invested into these companies is because over the long term, the Chinese economy is growing extremely fast. Now, as you can see, BBC actually predicts the Chinese economy to overtake the US by 2028. And if you look at just the GDP growth since 2010, you can see that it is increasing at an exponentially faster rate than the USA, which is this blue line right here. And if you just look at the population, like, it kind of makes sense. The Chinese population is 1.4 billion people, and the USA population is only 328 million people. And so it sort of makes sense that over time, the Chinese economy could surpass the US economy. And if that happens, and if this trend continues, I think that Alibaba and Tencent are very well positioned to take advantage of that, to capitalize on that, and to grow over the next 5 to 10 years. So I am buying in with small positions right now as we dip, and I am expecting to see a breakthrough or hit some level of support around 170 or 190 right here, and I think I'm going to be adding to my position as we start to move back up. So that is my position on these companies right here. Now let's dive into the entire market as a whole. Let's take a look at our indices and see how things are going, because honestly, it was a little bit of a choppy week. This watch list is going to be a little bit smaller because as of right now, there's not a ton of companies that are like showing great signs, showing great technicals, and showing great fundamentals, because over the last few days, we had a dip in most of our indices, starting with the NASDAQ. As you can see, the last 4 days of the NASDAQ from Tuesday to Friday were red. Now, we did set an all-time high on the NASDAQ. However, since that all-time high, we have fallen by a couple of percent with 3 consecutive red days. I am expecting some level of support around 14,200 here, but if that falls and if we break through that level there, that will be the first sort of indication of a trend change. We don't want to see that happen, obviously, but we do need to be prepared for it. Now, the S&P 500 also looks pretty similar to this. As you can see, we set a new all-time high, but going into Friday, we had a pretty significant red day and a pretty significant dip. And then when you look at the Dow Jones, we weren't able to break through our previous all-time high set in May, and on Friday, we had another red dip. So we are pretty close to most of our all-time highs. However, the finish to last week and the end of last week was definitely not a great indication, especially if that continues going into the week ahead. Now, I do want to point out this chart here. I went through most of the COVID numbers for most of the countries. Everything looked okay, but COVID in the United Kingdom is what really stood out to me, because as you can see, they're skyrocketing right now, and they're very close to the worst case of where it was back in January of this year. And so I'm keeping a close eye on this. The UK is a pretty major economy in the world, and so this could have some ripple effects around the world. So definitely be cautious of that. When we look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is still trading bearishly. We are basically falling back down to support right around $30,000, and it will be very interesting to see if we come down to $30,000. Are we going to bounce off of it, and are people going to step in and buy it, or is it going to be a continued sell-off? I'm not sure. But as of right now, I don't have a whole lot of exposure to Bitcoin. Now, earnings. This is really important because we've got a lot of companies reporting this week. Some of the big names are IBM, Netflix, United Airlines, Coca-Cola, ASML, which is the semiconductor company, Intel, Snap, Twitter, and American Express. So let's just take a quick look at some of these companies, starting with Netflix. Netflix is really interesting because, as you can see, we've been rejected at this basically $560 level several times. Once back in July of last year, September last last year, November last year, and then we broke through right at the beginning of this year. We basically opened higher, but we came right back down to within this channel within like 2 or 3 days. We got rejected at 560 again, probably in February there, again in April, and now it looks like just over the last few weeks we tested 560 again, but because the NASDAQ got rejected so hard, it looks like it kind of brought everything down, and we closed much lower on Thursday and Friday for Netflix. So this company has earnings coming out on Tuesday. I'm going to be watching this one pretty closely. I actually don't expect Netflix to beat earnings and do extremely well, just because of the increased competition that we've seen in this industry. So if we see Netflix continue to fall on Monday and the earnings don't go well, I could be shorting Netflix, because this could be a turning point for Netflix, because now there's a whole lot of competition in the online streaming space, and they don't necessarily have a strategic advantage other than their ability to produce original content better than other people. But I feel like those services can be hired out. So I'm overall bearish on Netflix, but I am watching it closely. If we see a good clean breakout of 560, that could be a short-term technical opportunity. Now, another company that I am long-term bearish on is actually Snapchat. I am not super optimistic about their business model and their ability to innovate and continue to kind of create the next big thing. So I am long-term bearish on the company. However, we do have a very clear double top right around $70 that we can see here. About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we got rejected at the $70 level, and we were reporting earnings this week. I feel like if it doesn't go well and if they miss their targets, the stock is probably coming back down to 50. Now, the next company I want to talk about is actually a company that I've talked about twice on my channel. I've done 2 videos of them. One was a CEO interview. I really like the company. I like the business model. I like the products and what they're doing. And as you can see, we started out at $1.60, immediately dropped down to 95 cents, ran back up to $1.50, came back down to 90 cents, and now we are trading at $1.25. And on Friday, Boosh plant-based foods jumped up by about 15%. We had an extremely strong close to the week, and I'm thinking that as we break through this moving average here, we climb higher out of our RSI and we finally have a MACD. I think there's a great opportunity in Boosh plant-based foods, especially over the long term. If you can get into this one, you can hold it out, and if they can execute their actual plan to get into as many stores as they say they're going to in the US, I think the sky's the limit with this one, and I think there's a great opportunity. So if we see Monday, Tuesday, a couple of green days and some confirmation of this move higher, I'm going to be starting with a small position in Boosh plant-based. Now, the next company that I really like is Southwest Airlines. This is a company that focuses mainly on budget transportation within the United States, which is an area where I think COVID isn't having much of an effect anymore, except within very specific certain areas where people aren't getting vaccinated. But overall, I do think that air transport is returning. I think Southwest Airlines is well positioned, and I think a lot of other people saw that as well, which caused the stock to rise up to $65. However, it has now come back down to $50, which is the exact same level that acted as resistance back in late 2020 going into 2021 here. And so we broke through that resistance. We're now coming back down to that exact same level, and what I am watching for is for $50 to hold right here. I do expect Southwest to kind of even out a little bit, and then I am watching for the bounce off of $50, because I think over the long term they're very well positioned, and I think with airfare coming back, this is going to be one of the companies that does well. Now, switching gears a little bit to the psychedelic industry, this is MindCure. This is another company that I've talked about on the channel, and since they listed, they have not done very well. The stock, as you can see, has fallen down to 31 cents, but over the last sort of 2 to 3 months here, they have made significant progress, not only on the company side with new products and announcements and developments of how they're treating mental health, but also on the stock chart side. You can see we hit a low of 31 cents. We're currently trading at 47 cents. So the stock's up over 50% since the lows. It's doing extremely well. We now have resistance right here at around 48, 47 cents. And on Monday, Tuesday, if we can break through this resistance level right here, I like MindCure long term. I think it's a great company. I think that will be the technical indication to get into it, and we're going to ride it up probably with this trailing stop loss. Now, the last company I want to talk about today is Actinium Pharmaceuticals. This company was actually on the watch list last week, but I probably pointed it out just a little bit too early because we didn't get the move that we were looking for. However, on Thursday and Friday, we had 2 really green days right here, and we had a very strong move higher, which could represent the start of a bounce off of this $7 level, and this $7 level is really crucial because it acted as support all the way dating back to 2020, and then multiple times right here going into the spring of 2021. And again, right now, if we can confirm this bounce off of $7, that's going to be a very positive sign. I've got my next levels of resistance right here where I'm looking to take profit, but I'm looking for this bounce trade off of $7 up to around $8.70 for my first profit target. Now, if you guys are interested in seeing when I actually enter and exit these positions, you can sign up for my Discord chat. It's linked down below, and that's where I'm trying to build a community of traders to share their research, share their due diligence, so that you're not left at home alone to do it all by yourself. I also post my weekly analysis, all of my stock trades, all of my technical analysis. I post everything in there. So if you're interested, it's $5 per month. There's a link in the description to this video, and I would love to have you there. But if you need some more education on the topic of the stock market, I have a completely free course. It's also linked down below. You get 2 weeks free access to Skillshare, and there's over 6,000 students that have already gone through it. I'm not going to give you the whole pitch right now, but definitely consider checking out the links in the description to this video. And thank you so much for tuning in every week to watch my weekly watch list. I sincerely appreciate it, and I hope you get some value out of it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Good luck trading, good luck investing, and we'll talk to you soon.